Hi everyone, my name is Tali Sofair and I'm from Yerach. I'm going to take you tonight through a journey of a unit that we made at school. It started off a unit that I did in my class after post-corona that with an idea to try and change the way we teach. It's now become a unit that we all use in all our levels, etc. at different ways and different forms. We adapted and changed it accordingly. So the topic was digital footprints and online awareness. This unit is a SEL unit that focuses on blended learning with all different types of multimedia technology, video clips, reading, writing, etc. So what we were trying to learn is we were trying to teach kids about their digital footprints, what's it like to be a responsible online citizen, and also how to be aware of their digital profiles and what they put out and how it can affect their future. This is all through English, which is really exciting to do something that's not like in a textbook, but a little bit differently. And it'll give them something more than just English, but it's through English. And at the end, we had a product, which was a TikTok social media campaign, and I'll show you a few examples of it. Wrong way. Okay. So first of all, we started with an Actively Learn, which is an amazing website that has ELA articles that can be read to them. It can be, they can read it, they can answer questions throughout it. The first article that we talked about was if their digital, their social media should be deleted as they get older. And they read an article about it and discussed the topic, whether that should stay or should they go. Then we watched this wonderful 20-minute movie made by the Australian government called Tagged, which is about a kid that puts up information online and the effects it has around the school and how it affects other people. After that, it was followed by a Google form, which helped them analyze the information that was given in the tag and discuss. Everything here, by the way, you can press on it and we'll link it to the links, all the forms, all the movies, etc. It's all linked here. Okay, so then afterwards, after we did the first unit on the digital media, the digital footprints, we went into a Netflix a Netflix episode called Nosedive. And the episode talks about what would you do if you lived in a society that everything was based on ranking. So it still is to do with media and social media and footprints and digital footprints. And then afterwards, again, they had another form that they had to fill in to process the episode that they watch. Again, all our forms the kids do all by themselves, all together in pairs, and we do it on the computers. Everything can also be on the computer or on a telephone, so they have a choice which one they prefer to use. Then we got together and played a really nice Kahoot about digital footprints using vocab, topics, etc. After that, we did a Wiser Me, which is also a wonderful, wonderful website that got them to reflect on their own personal social media platforms. And what, after all this information, after the footprints, after what it means to have a digital footprint, etc., if they think their social media is appropriate, not appropriate, if they need to think about it, etc., and it sort of gives them a reflection of themselves and on what they do and how they act. Again, all this stuff has been being taught through English. The final thing, which is the most amazing thing that we did, was a TikTok challenge. So after we did all this, after we saw about digital footprints and responsible digital citizenship, etc., we got them to make a social media campaign, a TikTok, where they had to present all the information that they've got to send out to their friends to educate each other about what the risks and things are to do with TikTok. To do with digital media. And then we got the classes all together and watched them together. We had the Battle of the TikToks, which was a fun, exciting afternoon. What went well? The kids loved it. The kids found it was very relevant to them. It was relevant to their lives. We started with their year 10s, year 11s. A few of my year 12s did it as well. So it was very relevant to them. They learned how to be responsible on social media. They found it was a really relatable topic, and it was fun to watch the classes all together. So we had 3 classes together. We mixed them up. The kids got to work together with whoever they wanted, so it wasn't just my class, and they enjoyed it. One thing that you can play around with a little bit is the movie that comes from Australia. It can also be in a Edpuzzle, which means that they can do it individually or you can do it in a class. The advantages of doing it in a class is you can have a class discussion on the topic. The advantages of Edpuzzle, they can do it by themselves. They can be independent learners. They can do it at home. It depends what timing, etc. you've got available for yourselves. One of the kids wrote to me when I asked them, I always have feedback at the end of every unit, and they said anything we do on the internet has an impact. We shouldn't take things, what we say, for granted, and we should always pay attention to what we do and what laws we might be breaking. So I really felt that summed up what we did and what we did. And then I want to just show you an example of one of their amazing clips. You've got them all here.
Sexting, cyberbullying, bystander, image-based abuse. Long ago, those things didn't even exist. Then, everything changed when the social media started to become popular. Only the education that you're being given at school can stop the internet abuse. But when the world needed it the most, it vanished. A couple days ago, our great English teachers taught us about an important topic named digital footprint. And before we beat the internet abuse, we need to learn to be kind to each other. But we believe that you can make the internet a better and safer place.
So that was one example. I'll share one more quick one.
To have a good time as a digital citizen, you should be respectful and responsible. You should also avoid arguments and bullying, because it will give you a bad reputation. You should stand up when you see someone being cyberbullied, so that everyone can enjoy being on the internet. Here are some tips that will help you maintain your privacy online. Think before you post. With social media, it can be easy to share things behind a screen that you might not feel comfortable saying in real life. Protect your privacy. Stay on top of your privacy settings to ensure that you're comfortable with what others can see on your social media accounts. Thank you for watching.
What was really nice about these clips and the TikTok challenge is I love TikTok, watch it all the time, have no idea about making TikToks myself, and the kids just went out and did it by themselves. So it was pretty amazing to see their products and for them to be able to take what we've given them and to be able to use it in their own words and present something and make a project or a production of it. So I've got a few minutes if you want to ask me some questions, if you want me to go back and show you some of the forms, whatever you like.
Any questions? This is amazing, Tali. So you adapted to different topics. You're saying that this was something you did in what grade?
This week, I started this in year 10. I decided after the corona that my English classroom had to be different. I decided that I didn't want to stand in front of the classroom and just teach like I used to before the corona. So I tried to make my class a blended learning classroom with different multimedia platforms that got the kids to hear the English and see the English and feel the English and produce the English. So this was an example of a unit that we do. So I started in year 10. My first one was in year 10, and then we expanded it to year 10 and year 11. Again, you can change it up according to the level. The unit centers around like the spoken and written reception and spoken and written production, which is important. They get information from listening to the clips, watching the clips, the questions that they're asked, their SEL questions like how do you feel, respond, getting them to talk and write a lot and produce a lot of responses. I'll give you an example of the tagged.
What other topics have you addressed?
I did cryptoids, which was a nice unit on cryptoids. Are animals like the Yeti, etc. We did a unit on that. Again, it's all based on an article that's an article which they'll read, and then they'll look at something, watch something, look up something, make posters. This
And
is
how long
example.
does a unit take? How long does a unit take?
It depends how much stuff I've got available. This one took a lot longer because lovely Netflix had a beautiful it had a what's it called on it?
Episode, yeah.
Episode. Thanks. Sorry, my English is gone today at the end of the day. It had an amazing episode on the same subject, so we did that as well, which meant we had another form afterwards, which made it a little bit longer. Usually, it's like it'd probably be an article with a clip, with something else like a form, and then a production piece. So it's usually about between 2 and 3 weeks. Some of them can take a little bit longer.
Is it based on anything from the book itself? Like you take a theme from the book, or not necessarily?
Sometimes yes. This one specifically no, because this was something that I saw.
Yeah, it's important.
That was important to the kids, and because I was also a mechanechet, a homeroom teacher, so it fit in together that I could take, because I'm no longer a homeroom teacher. It's I can take that and make it. I can teach them through English as well as teaching English, so it's a double bonus. They've got vocab, lots of vocab, and then they've got the clips. I put the clip in here. And then there's information about the clip itself, like what it is, how can you do it, how can you take it personally, like how can you personally, how does it affect you, what have you learned, how does the law, with the laws, about digital reputations, we talked about the digital reputation, cyberbullying, the bystander effect. So this actual topic covered a lot, and there's lots of it available, so I sort of had to stop myself from making it too long. There was the unit in one of the books about helping and the bystander effect, which also we did a unit about that. It just depends what the kids are interested in and what we feel like. There was a unit about racism. We just finished a unit on racism in sport, which was also another unit, a nice unit like that. And there's always a personal response at the end. And I always like to finish with a question as well, that they have to ask a question. I always feel it's important to get them to ask questions. So at the end of every one of my units, there's always a question that they have to ask. So, yeah. So everything's here. You can go in. Everything's ready for you and take it. And, yeah.
Amazing. Do you work on it during the summer, or you find, like, is it something you could do throughout the year?
I do this throughout the year. It depends on what the kids want. I adapt it accordingly, and the kids will say to me, we want a unit on this, and I'll go home and I'll find stuff and I'll make a unit. The racism one I did like 2 weeks ago, I made it for them on the spot.
Wow.
My creative juices flow and I make these things, and it sort of just happens. So yeah. And also for the literature, but literature is a little bit different, but it's the same sort of idea. And I'm trying to get the kids to be independent learners, that I'm not teaching frontally anymore. They're all learning in the classroom, and I direct the information, and I'm the facilitator rather than the oracle of knowledge, etc. So, and I also like to mix the classes up together, so we can do things like 3 classes at once rather than just my class, which gets the kids to mingle between each other and together.
So you work on it as a team, like as a staff team?
Yes.
Creating it?
Well, I have a habit of doing these things by myself, because I just get an idea and it sort of pops out onto the screen, but the other teachers take it and make it their own and adapt it and break it up and cut it up and add things, and we make it better. We see what works and what doesn't work, and we adapt it accordingly. Sometimes we take out questions, add questions, and see how the kids respond. Sometimes they find the things that I find interesting really boring, and sometimes the things that I find boring, they find really interesting. So it's about whether it works or not, and how we can fix it up but this unit they loved, like both years that we've done it, they just loved it. So, and you can see by that, I put in a whole lot of all the TikTok you've got at the end, you've got all the TikToks that they made together. So it was pretty cool.
Beautiful.
Pretty amazing.
Any other questions? Lots of responses on the chat. So if you have to sum up, like what's the biggest like benefits you feel you have from this, investing time and doing such a unit? Like what's your benefit as a teacher? we've heard about the students, but
it makes my life easier. I feel like I enjoy teaching a lot better. I'm a lot less stressed. All my information, all our kids have Classroom, which everything that I've put up is connected to Classroom. All the platforms are connected to Classroom. The kids do it if they're at school, not at school. So I've got 100% of the kids doing 100% of the work, which is pretty amazing. Even if they're not at school, if they're at school, they all make it up. They all do it. And my lesson, like the lesson and the environment in the lesson is just so much nicer and more fun. And I find that I'm actually teaching triple the amount of stuff that I would teach in the past. I'm managing to teach now, and the kids are remembering it. So it's I'm a better teacher because of the corona and because of the change in the way that I teach. So yeah, it's worth it. Definitely.
Amazing. Really, really amazing.
So, yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Okay. So if there aren't any more questions.
Yeah, I'll show another one of these if we'll wait. This is
Okay.
another one of my girls. Now, these are 3 girls that didn't like particularly to speak online, but they actually managed to do something, present something, even though they weren't actually talking. Actually really, really shy girls who don't speak at all. So it gives the opportunity for kids that I wouldn't usually see, the kids that we call shkufim. Through this way, I get to talk to them. I mark their forms online as they do it. So I sit in the front with my computer and I can talk to the kids online. Also see the ones in the back that don't usually talk and be able to interact with them and get them to do things and hear them, even though they're not literally speaking in front of everybody. We also do presentations, not this one specifically, but when we did other presentations, I do a showcase that I get them to stand around and they each individually present their projects and have a form to fill in and go around, and they're able to individually present rather than present in the class, which reduces also the amount of anxiety in my class, which means the kids are less anxious to present, but yet they still present and they still talk. And most of my classes are 36 plus. So for a big class, I feel like I managed to get to all the kids, etc. So it's a nice way of teaching and a different way of teaching. Yes.
My name is Tami, and I would like to ask a question. Do they talk in English to each other too? Okay.
Not only do they talk in English, we sit there and random conversations come out because of the different things we're doing. The other day we had a conversation about what came first, the chicken or the egg, and we had a huge debate whether the chicken or the egg came first.
Yeah.
And it just spiked off from something that we did, and then the kids started arguing between themselves in English about the topic that was on. So
right. Okay, yeah. Thanks.
So thank you for listening, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.